So imagine you're sitting in the stadium of your favorite professional football team. The roar of the crowd, the fresh smell of the concession stands, little kids standing around the fence, throwing footballs. Imagine taking that joy or excitement away from them. Football is a game that provides entertainment, a hobby to millions, and the fear of injury is killing the game. And one day there might not be football anymore. To show you why this is still a safe and great game, I'm going to talk about football and how it does cause injury, how we can prevent these injuries, kids losing interest because parents are holding them back, concussions and how we should approach them, and finally, why we shouldn't kill a great game that teaches many life lessons. So, to start off, injuries do occur in football. Just this year alone, on our own high school football team, we've had a lot of injuries. A couple of my teammates, Brian Stainbrook, dislocated his shoulder, Blake Bonesack broke his collarbone, and me, I had a very serious concussion that ended in me going to the hospital and an ambulance. So you may think that this is a very dangerous game and you don't see a point in why we continue to play it, but my question is, how many kids die in car accidents every year, yet we continue to let teenagers drive? Texting and driving is a huge issue, and kids are all about their phones, and when they're driving, they're on their phones. So my question is, we like to point our finger at football saying it causes a lot of injuries, but how many injuries do cars take? How many injuries do cars cause? So we're going to take away cars too? Now that we have looked at injuries that occur, let's talk about how we can prevent these injuries and what precautions are being taken. So to enforce some precautions and making sure that it's still a safe game, they've enforced a targeting rule which allows people not to lead with the crown of their head. That's how many concussions are caused, because it's head-to-head contact, and that's what they're trying to take out of the game. So a new rule was enforced this year, and it said if a player was thought to be targeting or hitting with the top of his head, that he was immediately ejected from the game and wasn't allowed to come back to the game. That's also happening at the college and the professional level. But for them, they have instant replay, so they can see if it was a targeting call or not. And at high school, there's no replay, so you're going off the opinion of a ref. There's been new equipment, as you can see here. This is one of the new helmets that just came out this year. You can see right on the front lobe of their head, that little piece, it's separate from the helmet. It's to help with impact when you get hit in the head, so it takes more of the blow. It's helped to prevent more concussions. Another precaution that's being taken is the proper tackling technique. This is huge. They've really enforced this. They're telling people to keep your head up and make sure that you're not dipping your head down and hitting with your head. They've also came out with a new band that goes around your head, and it measures if you have a concussion or not. And I think that that's a huge step, and I think that we could see that being enforced and putting in people's helmets to monitor if somebody does have a concussion. So I showed you what has been done to enforce and make sure it's a safe game. Now let's look at why numbers in football are dropping and how it's affecting the game. So this year alone, we had 8 sophomores out for football. If you didn't know, you need 11 players to play football. So right there's not enough players to play at a sophomore level. So we had to cancel our sophomore season. 6th graders, there were only 2 out for football, which is a huge deal. You're taking away a huge part of a kid's life because there's not enough kids that are able to play the game. There's only 2 out for football, so they had to go to Benton or CPU if they wanted to play. In 8th grade, there was only 13 kids out for football. And with 13 kids, usually you play an A and a B game in middle school. There's not enough to play a B game. So not only are you taking away this opportunity for the kids at Benton, but you're also taking away the opportunity at kids from different schools that might not play on the A team, but play on the B team. I got the chance to interview the head coach, Jim Walmichill, and I asked him why this is a great game, why we should keep this game. He said, across the country, there's been a significant amount of drop in numbers. The factor is parents concerned about concussions, unjustified at youth level. With youth football, there's kids, those kids don't hit very hard. They're not really hitting with the top of their head, and so you don't get very many concussions at a youth level. It's the most populated sport in America. It's a talent that fits all kids required. It's the most disciplined, and it's teamwork that can relate to life lessons. Life lessons such as adversity, preparation, preparing for a test. It generates the most revenue for a school activity. More football scholarships are given than any other sport. So kids that can't afford college but are very athletic and can play football might get the chance to go to college that they wouldn't be able to if they didn't play football. So now that we looked at how the game is being affected, now I'm going to talk about concussions. Concussions can not only occur in football, but many other occasions, such as horsing around with siblings. Many people may be quick to point fingers at football for causing the most concussions. However, cheerleading, surprisingly, is the leader for concussions. We can't act like concussions aren't a big deal, because they are. They can be prevented if the game is played safe. Personally, this game has taught me a lot. It's taught me about how to work with a team, how to be a good leader, and how to play as a team. Football has taught me how to fail, and how it's okay to fail in life. Use it to your advantage. Finally, football is a game that inspires kids. It gives them excitement, it gives them goals, it teaches them about life. I've stated why this is still a safe and great game. I talked about how football does cause injury, how we can prevent these injuries, kids losing interest because parents are holding them back, concussions, and how we should approach them. And finally, why we shouldn't kill a great game that teaches many life lessons. Football is a game that provides entertainment and a hobby to millions, and the fear of injury is killing the game. And one day there might not be football anymore. Now imagine, many years from now, a world without football. No more Super Bowls, no more Sunday night football, no more college football or tailgating with friends. Most importantly, the life lessons that football teaches are no longer taught through a great game. Thank you.